Hello, this is Joe Pryor of the virtualrealestateteam.com in Oklahoma City. It's March, it's snowing outside. I've got my toy poodle Henri here. He wants to be in the video. He used to be a prime person in my video, and he's kind of, slacked off just a little bit. What I want to talk to you today, and I think what Henri wants you to know, is who sets the value on homes? Have you ever wondered about that? Do you ever wonder if a home price is an exact science, or is it a crapshoot? Is it, somebody we ought to call a seer or something and look at a crystal ball? Well, I really want to talk to you about that and tell you how I define how a house price is set. Now, a lot of times people think an appraiser sets that price, and I want to tell you that's not true. That is not the job of an appraiser, and we'll talk about him or her in just a minute. But ultimately, what sets a value of a home, at least the starting point, is a buyer and seller agreeing on a price. A win-win type situation. The seller's willing to sell and the buyer thinks, that's what I'm willing to pay for the house and I can qualify for it. Ultimately, that's what sets the price. Now, before that happens, then the realtor typically works with the seller, looks at absorption rate, which I just did a previous video on about how houses are selling. Is it a vibrant market? They look at the location, is it back up to a busy street? Is it inside? Is it close to the neighborhood pool? Does it have granite countertops? Does it have updates on the roof and the carpet? A lot of detail goes into that, as well as what's selling in that neighborhood, in that area. And so those details go in. Now, very often, that price may be something where we go, well, let's shoot for $200,000 and see if that happens. We're not in an all-fired hurry. We don't have to move immediately. But typically in Oklahoma City, a house is going to sell about 97 and 98% of the listed price, and that is the last listed price. So let's say you started at 200, it was 180, and it sold for 98% of 180. That is typically how things are done. And so then an appraiser comes in if you're getting a loan on the home. And then the appraiser has definite parameters. And these parameters are pretty strict these days. We had a housing meltdown in 2007, 2008 they got away with a lot of stuff in bubble markets like California or Phoenix, Arizona, or Orlando, Florida. And so there's a lot of regulations that are put on appraisers. But essentially, what an appraiser is there to do at this point is determine if the price you all agree to makes sense in the market. And it really depends on your market. If you have a market like Oklahoma City that's very steady, it's going up to 3 to 5% per year in terms of values in a good area, then the appraiser's got a little bit of leeway about maybe saying, well, this is about $1 or $2 a square foot higher than the last highest sale, but I see a dynamic to the market, I see a trend, we'll allow that to happen. Or if it's not the case and it doesn't appraise, then the price has got to be lower. So an appraiser is protecting two people in the transaction, or two entities in the transaction. Of course, naturally the buyer. If a house is $200,000 at the purchase price and it's $190,000 on the appraisal, then what the appraiser is saying, look, I can't justify that $200,000. There's nothing in the value system that we adhere to that can make that happen. And then the second person or entity that's protected is the lender, because the lender's the one loaning this money, and they want to know that there's an equitable situation where they have an expected return in case there might be a little bit of a downside. So that's essentially what I want you to know about how prices are set. The realtor and the seller may agree on a price to start with. That's not necessarily the price it sells for. It's what you both agree to. And the appraiser comes in to justify that for the buyer as well as for the lender. This is Joe Pryor of the virtualrealestateteam.com in Oklahoma City, where we deliver traditional real estate values at the speed of technology.